Okay, everybody about ready? If you are, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We can have a moment of silence, please. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all the folks that made it in this morning, and if everybody's watching or will be watching. I'm going to start with a roll call. I'm going to start with Commissioner CULBERTSON.
Here.
Commissioner KAAZ.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Smith here. Commissioner Doug Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Mike STIEBEN.
Here.
All right. Public comment. I heard there was 0, so we'll move on. Administrative business, letter of support for RG Fiber. This is something I brought up and asked that it be placed on the agenda. The city of Lansing, like most communities, including ourselves, just wanted a letter of support why they go out and try to get some grants. Any city I would totally support if anybody brought forward, but I didn't think there'd be an issue with it, but I wanted to bring it for y'all and get your blessing on it before we went any further. Is there any comments on it?
We've made these letters of supports in the past for that, and it's not necessarily in the city, but it's also out in the county.
Absolutely,
So,
anywhere.
And that's basically all this board can do.
Yeah.
We are not the public utility that provides this service.
Yeah.
So.
And we've been turned down ourselves before, so we understand that.
But this is something we need to do.
Yeah. Any issues with it?
No.
We don't need a motion, do we?
Commissioner, since you'll be the only one signing it, I don't think it has to be. I don't think it says.
I just wanted to get a consensus on it.
If you want to, since it's from the county commission, you certainly could.
Just note it in the minutes.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. David, okay. Mark, you're up next on the county clerk.
Yeah. One thing I would say on that lines, I did have an email yesterday from somebody at Spectrum, and I suspect they're asking for a similar letter for their projects. So just so you know that we might have 2 or 3 more of these coming forward in the very near future.
You know, some of the places when Lansing annexed years ago, the one they're trying, of course, you're trying to do it all, but some of the places that used to be in the county, and they just have not went down that road. And so, especially when you go southwest. So I think anybody that's trying to offer this up in our county, I definitely would support.
What was the company down in Baser that Mr. Clifton, we had a letter of support for his?
I don't
recall
remember
that?
the name of his. It was like a point-to-point system, and I don't remember the name of the
That was
business.
about a year ago?
It's probably a little over a year, actually.
Yeah.
It's been over a year.
Okay.
Commissioners, we have the county clerk stipend for HR on here. As you're aware, and I think it was the end of 2017, the duties of the Director for Human Resources was assigned to the county clerk. Since that time, there has been no additional stipend or pay for that. And a few weeks ago, when we set the wages for the elected officials, one of the commissioners did bring up that they would like to see a stipend, I believe, of $12,000 a year for the clerk. I just want to formalize that. I did talk to the clerk. That amount seems reasonable to her. And I wanted to formalize that today and see if there was any questions as far as that goes.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mike.
And I'm very supportive of the stipend. But long term, are we considering changes as far as putting human resources in a different category or separate standalone? Or what?
We're looking at, possibly moving it over to the admin portion of the budget under a director.
Are you seeing that within the next couple of years, or?
Oh.
Yeah. When we did the budget last year, we anticipated that. This year, it's a matter now of just advertising for the position of director, HR director.
So, okay. That was my only question.
That's fine.
You do a great job, Janet, and everything you do, and we appreciate it.
Any?
Ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we give the county clerk a stipend for human resources.
We need to agree the amount. Is it 12?
Amount of $12,000.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Commissioner Culbertson?
Aye.
Commissioner KAAZ?
Aye.
Aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Stephen?
Bye.
All righty.
Thank you for all you do.
Yeah, we appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And your
Janet.
staff. Your staff is great to work with.
I appreciate you guys too.
Yeah.
You're always supportive of me and my staff, and do the budgets and the elections, HR. So I appreciate that also.
It's going to be a tough year this year, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
I
we've
tell
got
you what.
the revenue neutral
I'm gonna be
notices to put out.
Really busy.
Yeah, that's true.
There'll be a lot of campaigning going on, and
And I can safely say at this point, there's no way with the inflation that we can remain revenue neutral.
well, you know, that's something else that I'm now looking at contracting with one of the postal services in the state of Kansas to mail out our revenue neutral letters.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to be that's going to be a big deal this year.
I think
They
so.
have to be out by July 15th, which, as everyone knows, is right in the middle of advanced voting. And so I kind of have to think ahead a little bit, and that's why I'm going to go ahead and look at a company to do that mailing. We've been working with our software firm. Being so new, to come up with the correct format for folks. Because, you know, we put everything from the county, the cities, the schools, as low as the townships, drainage districts.
Fire districts.
All have to go on this one letter format that we send to every taxpayer. We also have to look at, you know, currently, so many of our tax statements go to mortgage companies. You know, you think about that. And so, you know, of course, now I can't send them to the mortgage companies. I have to send them to the individual property owners.
Right.
And so we have to look at addresses, because when the mortgage companies were getting all the statements, I don't know how up to date some of those addresses may be for our property owners, you know, because of the rental property and everything. So we've also started looking into that. So these laws are passed, you know, which is fine. Leavenworth County is going to comply with all of it. It's just that there's so many layers that a lot of folks don't think about.
All of the unintended consequences.
Yeah, that's why I like talking about it today, because it's going to be a big deal.
Instances that we are already working on.
That's good.
Anyway, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janet.
Righty. Mark, you have anything else? Commissioners, you have anything before I move on?
I do have a few things.
Go ahead, Dan.
I'm sorry.
Go right ahead.
You know, next, is it Tuesday, June the 8th, a deal at the United States Army Henry Leavenworth Chapter
Yeah.
dinner. I have an appointment that morning at 9 o'clock. Is
I'll
two
be
commissioners going to go? Or?
I'm attending.
Steve and I are probably going because we usually go because of the businesses.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
'Cause if you can, I can, as long as I cancel, change my appointment today. But
No,
if there will be two commissioners there, then I'll bow out of this one.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one will be February 28th, State of the City luncheon for Mayor Drennan and Baser. I think you and I went.
Yeah.
for-
I thought that was enjoyable.
Okay. So are you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll go to that, of course, and you'll go to that.
Same place?
It's at Falcon Lakes this year.
Okay.
Yeah, Falcon Lakes. And And I think that's all I had. Oh, other than wanting for a work session, if we could have a work session on what's considered ag tourism and what's not ag tourism, because it's kind of confusing.
Commissioner, we could have that work session right now. And
Okay.
No one knows.
Okay.
Attorney speaks again. Go ahead.
All right. Objection.
Commissioner, that would be good. What I need to let you know, though, is there is no bright line as to whether you cross over from normal commercial use into ag tourism. There are general criteria that are set out, but it's a very new venue, and although there's a state statute on it, it has only been interpreted, to my knowledge, one time, and that's in a codes court case out of Johnson County.
Right.
And it's a rather lengthy opinion, but it's certainly not definitive. So we can have that. I think part of it is going to be policy on the part of the Board of County Commissioners as to how you wish to define it.
Well, I think that's what we need to do, because I know we've done several, and we've had special use permits, and one that sticks out is it's in your area, Commissioner Stevens, Next to Nature.
Oh, yeah,
farm.
yeah. That's a nice
You know,
place.
we gave them 10 years, so they did put in a significant investment, but it looks like the whole thing is just nothing but ag tourism. And I just didn't know if that was something that, you know, we need to look at. So, but I mean, there's others. Of course, we've got the sunflowers.
They have good honey there.
They do education there too.
Right. Well, I mean, they've been featured on the news as
Right.
ag tourism.
I think the challenges for a lot of this, I think the stuff that's truly ag is easily identifiable.
Mm-hmm.
But then they transition from that ag to more of a commercial usage, like maybe an event venue where they're hosting weddings and stuff like that, which is clearly not ag tourism, but they still claim the exemption for ag tourism because they're serving products that they raise or grow. And that's really where the county council and I have had that conversation is, where do we as a county want to end up on that?
Mm-hmm.
And are we ready and prepared to defend our stance in court? So either you allow people just to say, oh, it's ag tourism, and you don't challenge them at all, or you challenge them, and we'll probably end up in court so that we can find out exactly where the courts see the line, because ultimately that's what it's going to be.
And that was a case in Johnson County. It was similar, wasn't it? It was an event.
The case in Johnson County involved the conduct of a wedding at a venue that also produced wine. And the issue was, at what point does it become ag tourism? Is it simply because it's conducted at a venue that does also produce agricultural goods, where agricultural goods sold or consumed at the event? So it's a pretty gray area, Commissioner. So consequently, since there's no bright line, you can draw your own.
Okay. Well, I don't know if the other commissioners, I'd like to have a work session on it.
I think that the one in Johnson County was a little unique too, in that the barn that they used was like almost a historical landmark. So
On top of everything else,
on
yeah.
top of everything else, so
Yeah.
it's a gray area.
So when you're saying we can define our own rules about this, would we be establishing our own policy on that particular, like ag tourism, Leavenworth County policy? Is that how it would be?
Generally, yes, and the issue would be, at what point do you wish to extend your zoning and land use regulatory powers to that property? If it's ag tourism, you can't. If it's not ag tourism, you can.
Okay. Those are things to think about.
They're just things to talk about.
Yeah,
We have
probably
that.
would
Well,
warrant the
I
work
mean, it's
session
confusing to
discuss.
me. So
Yeah, I see all the questions just coming up by itself.
Right.
Mark, can we set that
Sure.
other county commissioners okay with that? Okay.
And maybe we can discuss a little bit of it in our work session today.
With Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Mike.
Another, I think, and I want to see what the other commissioners thought, but I think it would be valuable for us to have a series of work sessions where we have a work session jointly with the city commissioners from Leavenworth and the county commissioners, and to kind of try to get all on the same page on some of the issues and at least understand, maybe even understand the differences, but to have open up more communication and then kind of work our way down Lansing, Baser, Tonganoxie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We started doing it with the schools in Lansing years ago. Now, everyone knows there's been frustration and sometimes people get turf oriented, but the only way you resolve these is if you sit down and talk with people about them and see if there's any common ground you've got. If nothing else, I think communication and one-on-one is a good thing. I agree with you, Mike. I don't know the rest of the county commissioners will.
This actually came up a few years ago, and we attempted to schedule work sessions with the cities.
Right.
And I believe that the important part of it is what's the agenda? There needs to be it's not just a coffee and donuts session. It's an agenda.
Yep.
What are the topics you want to cover, and where are you going to meet? And I think once we started narrowing that down, we ended up scheduling no work sessions with the city. So it has been brought up. We have had that conversation.
And
certainly we can.
And that's a good point, Mark.
Rehash that.
And that's why we, Commissioner Stieben and I, reached out to a couple of the cities and talked to them and asked them, since the changeovers happened, I think it's a different story.
I agree. I think
because they were positive about it too.
Yeah.
So.
But I agree that we should have an agenda, and I don't know if that's something you want us to kind of give you some ideas, and then you'll put it together? Or?
Absolutely. It's your work session, and I need to have that direction as to what you would like as part of their agenda. And obviously the cities are going to have something too.
Yeah, reach out to them to see what they
want.
And
then, meetings become somewhat of a challenge too, because, two boards, especially some of the cities have larger boards. You have to have an area that can host everyone. And if anybody, people want to attend, you need to have that. Our meetings are during the day. Most of their meetings are in the evenings. So we did try it. It was a bit of a scheduling problem.
Well, I'd sure like to try it.
Really
to go through some of those issues, depending on what we made.
Well, I would say that
Go ahead.
in deference to the fact that the majority of the cities meet in the evenings, or there are people that we try to do our work session that we would schedule would be an evening
Accommodate them.
to accommodate the.
It doesn't matter to me.
Or we can reach out to them and find out what works for their
Well, I'm
board.
just saying so that they don't, so that those
Council
individuals
members
aren't-
that have
right,
day jobs. Yeah.
that have.
Yeah.
I understand.
But Mark's right. We tried it before and it didn't work out so well, but I think this time it will.
Well, I've known there's some new elected officials. I think people are seeing the thing about working together. We're not going to agree on everything, but I've just seen more elected officials, including this board up here, trying to work with the cities and the unincorporated areas and stuff like that. I don't think you're going to get anywhere. Folks, you keep doing the same thing, you're not going to get any different results, so why not try it? And I understand market failed. We started doing it in the school board got 15 years ago, and sometimes the meetings would last an hour and a half, sometimes it only lasts 20 minutes with the agenda. But networking and talking to people about issues, to me, is very important. So, Mike, I think you brought it up. I think I like the idea, as long as the rest of the commissioners are okay.
Well, even like we're doing this transportation study, I think
That's
just from my observation, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've looked at, it looks like the Leavenworth County historically has not gotten our fair share on the KDOT funding.
Really?
And this, if we all get on the same page, maybe pushing in the same direction.
Right. That's the way it works. He'll tell you. You get more cities coming together to work on one project, your success rate goes up. If you're divided like that, it's not.
So anyway, it sounds.
Back to the transportation study. Now, we're all agreed we're going to do this transportation study, but I guarantee you, once the transportation study is done, they won't all agree.
Yeah.
Just like the comp plan.
Or just
Everybody
like
wanted the comp plan, but then when it's done, there's a few people that don't agree with it.
like the airport. Everybody's in agreement for the airport. And then the location came in, and all of a sudden a city or two decided, no, we don't want to do this anymore. We've got to get past stuff like that. When you pay good money and have people come out and do studies, elected officials have to be able to, get through the mud on something like that. But there have been a few I can think of, too, in the last 20, 30 years, Doug. You're right.
Yep. So,
But let's not make them mad before we even get
No, I know.
So let's go.
I wondered what's going with that.
Let's schedule basers after the State of the City address.
How would you like to address setting an agenda? Would you like to do a work session topic on that, just real quick,
Yeah, I
and
think
at
so.
some point in the future?
Yeah.
Let it give you all time to think about what you would
Yeah.
like on that. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Everybody okay with that? Okay, yeah. Mike, anything else?
I don't have that. No, that's just
Okay.
that's plenty.
All righty. Let's go to the consent agenda. Is there anything on the agenda that needs to be pulled? If not, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
Mr. KAAZ?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
Okay. Going to formal board action. Mark this right this time, so I don't forget it. Probably still will. Formal board action. Consider a motion to approve Resolution 2022-4, a rezone request from RR5 to RR1 located at 16630 Gilman Road. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. How are you?
Great.
We have a request here to approve a rezoning from RR5 to R1. The applicant's requesting this to match the lot size of the Highcrest West subdivision, which is located immediately across the street on Gilman Road. Highcrest West is part of Sewer District 1, and lot sizes there range from 1 to 2 acres within the subdivision. The applicant's request would allow for the property to be developed at the same density. It is important to know that the Highcrest sewage district cannot take on any additional lots, so this would not be added into that. We did change the sanitary code, as you all know, to allow for septic systems on 1 acre lots. The resolution is 2022-04. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this, and staff will answer any questions you may have. It does match the comprehensive plan. It's less dense than the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan calls for 3 units per acre there.
Questions?
It's right across the subdivision. It fits the neighborhood.
I saw that too.
So
No protest.
No protest petition.
If there's no questions, then I'll take a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve Resolution 2022-4 rezoning request from RR 2.5 to RR 1 on Gilman Road.
Second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
Mr. KAAZ?
Aye.
I'm voting aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Mr. Stephen?
Aye.
Okay, consider a motion to approve Resolution 2022-5, a renewal of a special use permit for Conley Site Works.
Chairman, this is a request to approve Conley Site Works. This business has been in operation at this location for 20 years. This will be their 4th special use permit renewal. They've actually reduced the impact to the neighborhood. Their employees no longer report to the site. They report directly to the job site as opposed to coming to the Conley's property. The Planning Commission recommended 6-0 to approve this. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Well, I went and looked at it.
Yep.
There's actually more agriculture equipment there than there is construction equipment. It's a farming deal.
Yeah.
It's on County Road 1, so it's just off the County Road 1 corridor.
Yep.
thing. So
Any there? Mike, anybody else? Okay, if
I've been
not.
there 20 years. So.
Yeah, when I read what I saw, I didn't have a problem.
So basically, once we change, they won't have to come back for a renewal, so it doesn't really matter how long we renew it.
Yeah. And that's coming up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
I'll make it. Move to approve Resolution 2022-5, a renewal of the special use permit for Conley Site Works.
Second. Motion and second. Any more discussion?
Only one thing I'll say, when I was chairman of the Rural Water District, they did a lot of work for us, and they're a good company.
I saw that, yeah.
They're a good company.
Okay. Commissioner Culbertson?
Aye.
KAAZ?
Aye.
We voting aye. Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner
Aye.
Stephen? Okay. Make it easy for Crystal.
Would you like it?
Thank you.
That didn't hurt too bad.
Never does.
Was that sarcasm?
Let's think about Okay. Presentation discussions. Additional public comment. Mark, do you have anything? David, you have anything?
No.
County Commissioners?
Oh, what did I do? Oh,
Let me start, Jeff.
okay. All right.
Jeff, you got any?
No,
Vicky?
sweet.
Attended the chamber dinner, awards dinner on Friday evening. And
Thank you.
The recipient, Elaine, with the Deeper Window Association, I think was well-deserved. And I think that's pretty much all I have.
I don't have anything at this time. Doug?
Of course, I had Bayshore City Council last week and Paramount Township last Thursday, their board meeting, and also attended the candlelight vigil here at the courthouse Friday night.
Keep you busy. Mike?
I don't have anything to report.
Huh?
I do not have anything to report.
Okay. I'm not going to ask you again.
I can think of something if you would like me to.
Mr. Chairman, I do have one
Go
more
ahead,
thing. It's probably a little early, but it's the LCDC
Yeah.
annual dinner or meeting
They're rescheduled.
on March
March
4th.
4th?
I believe.
Right.
Are we all going to attend that?
I'm
Most of
not.
I'm
us?
scheduled
Yeah.
to attend.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll
And
just
Tom
have to
is
put it on the
scheduled to
agenda.
attend.
Yeah.
So we have to put it on the agenda then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Good point, Doug.
That's it.
Okay, there's nothing else. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Everybody jumped on that. Aye. Motion and second. Aye. See, I didn't even start yet.
Aye.
Commissioner Cummings?
Aye.
Aye. Christina?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Okay, need a regular, we're going to go into a
Work session.